business competition that will happen in mid-November, I think the second half of November. But we will update you on the specific timing, date, and also what's required on your side when it comes to the lengths of the presentation way in advance. So maybe I just give them the floor if they want to introduce themselves a bit more.
After you, David. Lovely to meet you, Jose.
Thank you so much, Jose. I think you already said everything. So I'm David. I'm from AYF, and I'm very happy to.
I haven't said where you're from. I don't know if you want.
Okay, I'm originally from Benin, and then so I'm in Awaji for 5 years now, if you want to know that as well. I would like to say congratulations for being able at least to be at this level of the competition. So it's a very great idea, and we really want to listen and see if we can give you any advice. But we think this idea also can be moving forward. So we will give our advice, but if you have any question, anything you would like us to support with, let us know as well. I'll let Adam go. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David. Lovely to meet you, Jose. My name is Adam. I've been in Japan for about 20 years. And most recently, I'm investing in and mentoring and advising early stage companies. So really hope that I can give you some solid advice for your presentation. As David says already, congratulations for getting this far. But hopefully we can give you some solid advice and get this turning into a real project very soon. Looking forward to today.
Okay, thanks for the introduction. So just say the purpose of the meeting is having you sharing your idea, your business pitch, and then we can proceed with comments from David and Adams, and of course Q&A. And overall, the main purpose, let me clarify this one more time, is having feedback, from business experts, so you can refine the presentation and be more, competitive for the business competition that we will organize at the second half of November. So whenever you are ready, you can proceed with the presentation. Sure, thank you. Yes. Give me a second. Jose more. So I think I can make you. Yes. So I will put you host for while you are presenting, so you can share. Nice pleasure, Yes, thanks. I can. Okay, so I was muted. So we are finalizing this. I think yes, more likely it's going to be 5 minutes, but we are just finalizing. Depends on how many people we will have presenting. So far, I think we will have 3, but in case we will have more, maybe this time would be adjusted. But I'll let you know way in advance. I will let you know at least 15 to 18 days in advance how long is going to be the timing for presenting during the competition. Yes, you will have all the information way in advance. Now it's just getting feedbacks and getting prepared for the event that will come second half of November. Yes, we are also finalizing that. We have different ideas, and I don't want to anticipate anything that I'm not 100% sure that I can confirm. That's why I prefer to come back to you when I have all the information about the competition and share in advance with you, at least 15 to 18 days before the competition, so you can have all the information in advance. But now, we are discussing it this week. We are finalizing all the points. Because also this week we're also selecting the third winner of our competition, the one that is achieving your position in that moment, and so that's work in progress, but it's finished. We are tailoring up by the end of this week. So thank you very much for the presentation. I mean, I do remember it really well when I received it and when we evaluated among the candidates as winner of the first business challenge. And thanks again for sharing it again now with Adam and David. So I guess we can proceed with comments, question, from your side, and opening up this next minutes for having a bit of dialogue and brainstorming on the project. So I don't know if anyone or David or Adam wants to start. I'll let you know.
Thank you very much. David, I'll let you go first this time. I went first last time, so if you're there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're there now.
Thank you very much, Jose. This is a very great idea. And you already adapted to Awaji, Awaji, safe food, Awaji. That's very interesting. I love the idea. I think it's practical and, feasible. The few thing I was considering when you were speaking is the transportation. For example, you say there are different ways to take the food from here to deliver the food, all right? Yes, can be delivered. So how easy will that be is my really real concern, because we have Uber Eats in Japan, we have those kind of services. But when we think about Awaji, we just have to think about the challenge specifically. If we want to do this in Awaji, that's my idea. Then maybe the transportation might be a bit challenging. Do you have in mind what kind of transportation is like? Is it? Okay. Oh. Yes. Yeah, I'm just thinking, from business perspective, how I think delivery service nowadays is very complicated a bit, because we don't have that, transportation in Awaji for sure is one of the challenge, but maybe e-bicycle, those kind of systems coming recently. So maybe if there is any connection with that kind of electric bike where people can use either way to go to get the food or go to, get the food delivered. So that could be something. I was just thinking about that right now. It will even fall into the sustainability process where, they can use e-bike or not. But it's just an idea. I'm just thinking ahead. I'm thinking about cost, because if I think to deliver, if you have to deliver the food, then the person who might be getting the food for maybe free, but if for free, maybe it would be best. But if it's not for free, imagine it will have to pay something. And then if that cost will be more than the value of the food, then he might prefer going to buy food directly. So I'm just thinking those kind of possibility that maybe how to monetize it. That could be some challenge we need to figure out. And you talk about maybe Family Mart or maybe other grocery around who could be taking that. It could be also an option. You just have to see what will be the benefit for them to accept those kind of food from the restaurant to put there also. Those are things. But about the presentation itself, I have a few points, like two, I would say. What do you want to do by when? when I think about it, at the time, like, what's the first step in your process? For example, I want to do this, and this will be the next thing I will have to do, and this will be the next. And then what do you need? All right. If you want to make this happen right now, if we say, okay, today, let's do this, what's your plan and what you need to make it happen? Do you have all this? Those two things will be interesting to consider when you're presenting everything. Yes, okay. Yeah, no, bicycle one day is possible. One day, but yeah, I'm thinking there is no train system here, for example, and the bus, internal bus, like the bus coming from the other city to the Awaji, there are those connections, but the bus within Awaji is not that regular if we think about those kind of process. So the transportation system is a bit challenging here at this moment. So that could be one of the challenges I could see. Uber Eats and Awaji, I don't have the experience personally, but I think in other city, of course, that's very common in Japan. But in Awaji, I haven't got the experience. It will be very maybe a bit rare, I think, not common. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yes, got it. No, I think it's good point. It make it more clear for me.
I've
It's
done it
possible.
by bike. It's possible. It's possible. So bikes definitely is an option, but of course that's an island where like the key movement, the key, I mean, tool for transportation is still cars, definitely. So people in Awaji go around by car, and there is space for parking basically everywhere. So definitely, I mean, from this area, the main, the main tool for transportation is still car, 100%. Like when it comes to Awaji, at the moment, that's the situation. Yeah. Yeah, but the idea also of like involving the conveni actually would be great, because conveni here does serve as a point of contact for everything, not just for food, but for post office, for ATM. So really, when you need something, you're always ending up in a conveni, especially in Awaji, because they are everywhere, even if it's kind of a remote environment. They're really I think maximum 15 minutes drive from, doesn't matter where you are, you can reach it, to a conveni. So definitely, I mean, working on conveni in general or something similar would be a very good starting point, because they are everywhere and people end up there anyway. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Mm. Good. Yeah, I think those things, if you figure out a bit, because our target audience is people in Awaji. If this was going to be in Europe, I will not even mention about that, or even somewhere else in Japan. So I was just making you understand the key challenge we could have in Awaji, so that you can adapt a bit more to what the environment. And yes, if you can figure out, your step and your need in the process, that will be easier for whoever is listening to you to think about the feasibility because so that will be something. Yeah. You get food and you get points. Yeah, that's the best life, better life, man.
And if you go by bike, you get skinny also because there's a lot of biking.
Wow. The health. It's great. I think, yeah, it's an interesting point. From my side, I'm fine for now, unless you have some question. Adam, I will leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Jose. Yeah, really interesting idea. I'm just I'm thinking, like, I'm sure when you conceived of this idea, you weren't thinking about Awaji, right? This kind of solution probably arguably works better in high density regions. Is that right? What kind of a region do you live in Germany right now? Sorry? Right. Yeah. So a big city. You're in the middle of quite a busy area, are you? That is interesting. Okay, cool. So these solutions exist not only in dense areas but also in rural areas in Germany, do they? Fascinating. So I would add a slide about that Munich example as a case study up the front, just to give a bit of context. This is the system in working order, for example. This is the inspiration where my idea came from. It would be good to know more about that. Yeah. And also the other thing is I feel like you're selling yourself short. Again, just kind of your frame of the problem. Like the problem in Awaji is that 1/3 of food waste is wasted, right? And I know why you've done that, but it's just like, is it a big enough problem? Like the people that you're pitching to are arguably interested in seeing this solution, and investing in this solution potentially growing from Awaji. But at the same time, just talking about the food waste problem in Awaji, I don't know if it's big enough for people to care about enough, I'm not sure where you got this 1/3 figure from too. That sounds extremely high to be. So go on. So David, what's the best answer that we can give Jose for that? Is it like 来年のプログラムのためにこれをうまくいったら来年なんかね投資も含めて考えられるって感じ？AYF fellow として。
このぐらいですね。So
yeah.
I think
sorry.
Adam point one point. Of course, I will go, of course, for Awaji, more specific one aspect, but I can put the data which concern the whole Japan to show that it will start from Awaji, but our next step is to cover all Japan. So that could be a more bigger market from, people perspective. So that's why if you put the timeline, we want to do the prototype and trial in Awaji, or maybe, start from Awaji, but then we want to take this market. And if you come to all Japan, you might have more data, all right, about the food waste in Japan in general. It could be some element to consider. Mm. 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 Mm.
Yeah.
Awaji is a case study, but Awaji is somewhere you start, but the future that you are to scale up this project, you are thinking to cover all Japan will be made also attractive, I think.
Yeah. So for the problem slide, Jose, exactly, frame the problem as Japan-wide, but then talk about the Munich case study in both city and rural situations. And then, in your timeline slide towards the back of the deck, you can start with a pilot in Awaji. Awaji is right across the bay, like 10-minute ferry ride from Kobe and Akashi cities. So starting in Awaji as a rural use case, but also at the same time investigating Kobe as a city use case. Kobe city are very open to startups in general, including foreigners with companies as well. So it would be quite easy. And Pasona, for example, have strong connections. They're part of the startup ecosystem consortium in Kobe city as well. So it would be very easy to kind of demonstrate or test both use cases, but problem as the whole of Japan is much better frame, I think. Perfect. And sorry, just to answer your question before, I was just confirming with David, but yeah, basically the pitch competition is the stage one. I'm not sure how much you already know about Pasona and their activities on Awaji Island, but basically they're very interested in creating new solutions to not only societal problems, but also regional issues, and then scaling them to the whole of Japan. And so this pitch will be aiming at the people who are very interested in starting and supporting these solutions early on in Awaji. So, for example, you might be invited to come to Awaji and to do this testing on Pasona's funding. But then, exactly, the idea would be that you would be scaling it up across the rest of Japan into a national company, right? So I hope that helps clarify the target audience of who you will be speaking to. Fantastic. Yeah, because we would love to see you here next year and would love to support you to get these first use cases and first data collection, right? Not yet. You've got to go through one more round first.
In the backstage, we are doing our best to make it happen, but it takes a bit of time. Also, because the opening of the border, it has been so recent that I guess like all Japan has a bit to readapt on, the new reopening of the border, and you need certainty, not just like on your side, but also companies need certainty that this policy will be implemented in the medium long run. So now it's still, kind of a trial moment. I guess that in the next months, when everyone will see that the border is 100% open, then things will be back to normal. But thank Jose for the presentation. I mean, the purpose of this. Adam, please.
Sorry, Francesco, I've still got more feedback. Is that right?
Sorry, 100%. Sorry, I thought we were wrapping up, but 100%.
No, not at all. Not at all. So as for the Awaji frame, Jose, for example, the parties that are interested in these kinds of solutions, they would be happy for you to establish the company in Awaji. Or one example is they're trying to encourage a lot more software developers to come to Japan. This is a real issue in Japan. There's a shortage. And so they're trying a number of different initiatives to attract software developers to the island, both international and domestic, including training and courses, etc. But there's also a shortage of work for these developers to do. So you could frame it as establish in Awaji, bring software development talent together on the island to build this, solving the rural use case on Awaji to scale to other rural areas, solving that regional revitalization issue, but then also scale it into the Japanese cities where the food waste problem is more acute, but also more competitive. And so, Awaji is your test bed, basically. I think that would be a good way to frame it for the people listening to be like, oh, yeah, this is great. I want to support this. But you don't have to make it too small just about Awaji, right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the next point is, like, Awaji is actually a great spot to start a business for a foreigner because of the support that Pasana, for example, provides, and Kobe City. But there's a lot harder places to start your own business. And so the AYF program is one of the opportunities where you're able to come and test out these new ideas in a kind of sandbox environment. So there was no slide in there mentioning your passion, particularly. Like, why have you proposed this as an Awaji solution? Like, what's your interest in Japan, or what's your interest in Awaji? I think it would be nice to have at least just one mention of why you're thinking of this, right? Yeah. Are you planning on, like, if things go well and this gets funded and approved, would you like to come to Awaji to try to make this happen? Yeah. Yeah, cool. So just put that in the deck. So the Japanese people love it when you say, I love Japan. So I would put a bit of Japan love into the deck. Perfect. That would help.
You love anime? Yeah. Which anime do you love? Is it?
Conan.
Yeah.
You should have that in mind. I love samurai.
Say, if I'm not wrong, you will study in Japanese as well, no?
Good.
So it's good, at least in my opinion, if you can, like, just maybe in the slide in which you're passionate on Japan, just add, like that you already started. I mean, you're not new to Japanese as a language. I think that's something that is valuable because, like, now that I'm in Japan, I notice how it's important even to having a, like, basic level of Japanese really makes the difference between having zero Japanese at all. So I think that's something that could, like, support you in this. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe add your profile picture in the slide as a picture of you wearing your I Love Japan t-shirt and mentioning that you're studying Japanese.
Maybe it doesn't have that one.
Too much.
No,
sorry, David. Sorry, can I just get two more pieces of feedback?
Yeah, for sure. Go.
Thank you. Also think about competitors, Jose. I'm not sure how much you've researched. I'm sure not as much as you would like. It's very difficult to research in Japanese, but one hot food loss app that keeps coming up, people talking about, is Tabete. So I'm not sure if you know about this. I'll just post it in the chat, but have a look at the solution. So, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It is in Germany particularly. Do you know Changes? There's an app over there. There's a few apps. Do you know them? Yeah. So we worked with them in Osaka a couple of years ago, actually, but it was too early for Japan. But yeah, in Japan it was like they've been in business for 10 years or something. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. It is. And so I would almost, in the Munich use case there, I would almost make a quick mention about how positive behavior is being incentivized in markets like Europe and USA already. Just a short mention is fine. But I'm also aware that they're contemplating creating a coin for Awaji as well, at least within the Pasana ecosystem. So you could almost just drop it into there and they can earn coins and utilize them within the Pasana ecosystem too, right? I'm not sure how much you want to get into the blockchain conversation, but just a little bit of a kind of mention of it probably wouldn't be a bad thing. Yeah. Exactly. That's what they're aiming to do, create their own currency for the island. Anyway, yeah, don't go too deep blockchain because I believe the head, the top people within Pasana don't really understand it yet. It's more the middle people that are trying to push it. They're kind of like, oh, what's Instagram still kind of level. So maybe don't go too deep on blockchain, but just for example, in Europe, yeah, people are receiving real, actual, I don't know if it's money, but they're receiving an equivalent of currency, right? In return for walking. Yeah. It's worth it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, don't go too deep, but maybe add something about that to the deck as well. The trend, the main trend, just so that they can better understand that other markets are much more advanced in that already. Okay, so competitors, yeah, that's basically it. Except your final ask, you kind of just added at the end. We're looking for investors or collaborators. If you could just specify what you're actually looking for right now, like a flight to Awaji, accommodation, X to fund my prototype, etc. You don't have to be too specific, but just the more you can clarify your ask, the easier it is for people to go, I can help you. And that sounds like the ask to me. Please let me, sponsor me to come to Awaji to build this, basically, right? But what do you think, guys? My first impression is please, allow me to come to AYF next year to bring this to life.
If I can share, also, if I'm not wrong, you have applied also in the past to the fellowship, no? So I think that, I mean, it closes a bit the circle, because I guess as you were interested in the past, you might be interested in the future. So I think that that's something you can definitely, if it's true, like if you're interested in joining for the next batch of the fellowship, I think that that's something would really make sense, because you're also way in advance. You're providing, the secretariat with the project on which you would like to work during the year on the island.
Sorry for that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's fine. That's fine. First of all, don't be disheartened. Like, there are thousands of applicants, so it is a very competitive process. But also, they are talking about separating. For example, one program that Pasana already run is to fund Japanese entrepreneurs with idea stage concepts like yours for 1 year to live and work here to develop their own business, and then at the end of the year they choose to fund or not. And they're talking about doing the same program for international startups and early stage ideas as well. So, maybe you can leave out the AYF. AYF has specific criteria. As you mentioned, the 30-year criteria, I believe, is quite strict. So, maybe you can just leave that out and say, look, I would love for you, to feel passionate about this idea and give me the opportunity to come to Awaji and work on it, and just leave it ambiguous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is no information yet. It's all talk. But the people at the top are whispering about it. So they're planning it for next year, but the program hasn't taken structure yet, which is why I think an ambiguous ask at the end is perfect. And then in a few months' time, when we're open for the new program, then we can say, oh, by the way, Jose, come on down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
They will love that. Sorry, thank you. Sorry, that was a long time, but yeah, thank you.
No, I think you did so many interesting feedback, so I don't feel there is even feedback to give. But if you worry about the fellowship, of course we say 30-year maximum, but we have some exceptional candidate, so it depends on the situation. So it doesn't mean we close 100% at 30. But it means how special or unique that candidate is. We can still consider beyond 30, depending on the situation. So that's one possibility. And if you really want to take the advantage, Awaji or Japan is one of your aim to plan. Then you will have to start improving a bit your Japanese. Because with IT plus Japanese is very good opportunity in Japan, honestly. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, so that's just some idea. But about the proposal itself, as Adam said, at the end, you keep open, and if you have, it's up, all right. So if you even take the action and start developing something or having maybe some demo, it would be even perfect. because you didn't wait until you start something. Those actions create quick connection with the investor. So they can see, oh, you already start something with your own skill. You are not waiting for everything to come in. And you show that demo quickly, I think it will be very attractive. You have a very great idea, to be honest. So if you can really bring the demo as well, maybe 1 minute short demo or something to show, oh, look at, this is where I'm starting, but I know the next step is this and that and this. And this is what I need to accomplish it, as Adam was mentioning. Hmm. Oh, you are almost close to Japan, eh? Very close. Oh, very good, very good.
That's good.
Mm. Mm. Sure. Thank you. So, thank you.
Just two more things. Sorry, Jose, while I've got you, I just sent 2 links there to the size of the food waste problem in Japan, and it's 8 million tons estimated for last year. But just those figures are much more significant for the start of the deck, I would say. The other question I had was in Munich or in Germany, you mentioned you have to take your food waste to a drop-off spot. Do they not allow you to just register your own home address, for example, and leave food waste out in a fridge outside or something like that? Is that an option? So I'm just thinking, for the person who's creating the food waste, the least amount of effort is obviously the most attractive, right? So I imagine individual consumers is not worth the effort. But for example, for a local restaurant, anyone can essentially register and leave the food out the back of the restaurant in a fridge or something, ready for anyone to take, right? Yeah. Because Awaji in particular, yes, convenies are close, but at the same time, you've got to get in a car and drive 10 or 15 minutes to get there. So I wonder if you should also mention that option. 3 options. 1, leave the waste at the back of your existing restaurant or establishment. Option 2, drop off at a point, or option 3, delivery, for urban environments more suited, right? Mm-hmm. Just to highlight those 3 different options, I think would be worthwhile.
Yeah, I think those are very, very, very interesting points. And for your information, Persona have a lot of restaurants here. We have a lot of restaurants. So even the prototype can even start internal Persona, bringing the food to the employees, letting the employees getting the food waste from the restaurant will be just maybe not related, but it could be because Persona have a lot of restaurants in the island as well.
If I can add something on this, even the program itself here in Manabi, where we are living, there are some of the fellows that are trying to reduce food waste, and they're maybe now working more on as an option to work on creating compost. But definitely, if it would be possible, I think, to create a system in that instead of creating compost, you can just give the food while the food is good. That's something that would be great to implement already in our own facility, because that's not a high number of people, but if the thing can work in a small environment and you can show it, that it's already working here, the next step could be all the restaurant of Pasona, and then further and further. So definitely, when it comes to food waste, I guess there is room even here in Manabi, and that's something that to me shows the value of this project. Definitely.
Yes. Definitely, you have a lot of idea now, but just keep focused on whatever is the best for you to adjust. Don't don't think you want to include everything. You just
definitely, because the time of the presentation will be limited. So wait for all the comments. I mean, but remember to select. Adam,
sorry, Jose. Can I just add one more piece of information for you, though, Jose? We have in rural areas in Japan, we have supermarkets on wheels. So they're basically like a big van with the most important, popular ingredients only. And they drive around to set locations, but basically anywhere. So I wonder if some sort of collaboration with them could be possible because they're going around anyway. Could they be using a portion of their space? Just idea for you.
It's true. They came also in Manabi. Like I saw them 3 times already, and they're very popular because it's so convenient. You just go out of your house, and then you can buy from food to basic material for the house. So very, very convenient, and that's interesting. So then I guess if there are no other comments, I really thank you, Jose, again for taking the time of presenting. I'll come back to you next week, with the details about the business competition when it comes to the date, the time you will have to present, and also, of course, the people that we were expecting to joining. I mean, the audience to which you will present. And then I want to thank, of course, David and Adam for joining today, for all their feedbacks and comments. And I mean, I'm telling you, they know what they're saying because I know that personally. So really, I'm sure with all your feedback and comments, your presentation can, be definitely upgraded. And that's it. I thank you very much, and I'll come back to you next week.
Yeah,
and of course, if in case you have any question, you can write me. We are on chat, we are on contact on LinkedIn, but we can still use that platform for communication.
Yeah, and on that point, Jose, we're not here just for today. Anytime moving forwards, anytime you want advice or want to ask any questions or something, let's open up a communication channel. Francesco, if you could, I don't know, share.
Yes, I shared with Jose already your LinkedIn profile. If you want to proceed on LinkedIn, I think it's okay. Or if you want more, of course, I have all the contacts of Jose.
Good. Thank you very much.
Interesting. Yeah, fair enough. Awesome.
Thank you.
Gracias, Jose.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.